I'm Garnet. Eggs is still a PNG, it's weird. I've picked my top 10 favorite anime that were not released in 2023, but that I watched in 2023. The ones that were actually released in 2023 are another video. Also, I wouldn't worry too much about the order. I've shifted them around so much before recording, I'm not gonna agree with myself later. But in any case, these are 10 anime that I really enjoyed. Number 10, Dame Prince? Dame X Prince? Anime Caravan, I don't know if I said that right at all. A fantasy-based reverse harem made by Studio Flad in 2018, based on a mobile game developed by NHN Play Art in 2016. Out of all the anime I watched, I didn't expect a reverse harem to actually make the top 10, and it's not alone. More on that later. Princess Annie is sent to sign a peace treaty between her country, Inako, and 2 more countries, Milledonia and Selenfallen. And she meets a bunch of princes, and they're all out of their minds. I don't know how to explain. They're just, stuff happens. It's more comedy than it is romance, and I think I prefer reverse harems to be that way. Any of them that like take themselves really seriously, I just can't. It seems like it's making fun of reverse harems more than anything else. I really like this protagonist, and everyone is so pretty, but they're like paired with like over-the-top personalities. It's really fun. I had a lot of fun watching this one. Number 9. This is actually 3 ones. The Devilman OVAs, 3 specific ones. These are supernatural horror OVAs based on manga by Go Nagai. The original manga started in 1972, but since then there have been so many sequels, spin-offs, and remakes, and whatever else. There's just so much to the series. Anyway, I watched Devilman The Birth, made by O Production in 1987. Devilman The Demon Bird, also made by O Production in 1990. And Amon Apocalypse of Devilman, made by Studio Live in 2000. All 3 of these OVAs focus on a boy named Akira Fudo, who was convinced by his extremely suspicious friend, Ryo Asuka, to merge with a demon to become Devilman. Now possessing a demon body with a human heart, he fights to protect humanity from the demons who are trying to take over the earth. I watched these as if they were sequels of each other, and the only ones that were actually meant to be that were the first 2. Yeah, it doesn't work with the 3rd one very well. Both The Birth and The Demon Bird are pretty faithful adaptations of the original manga, not completely. There were some differences. And it doesn't take you all the way to the end, unfortunately. I wish they would have made more like this. Also, these 2 both have subbed and dubbed versions. I watched them both ways, and the dub is hilarious. Apocalypse was based on a different manga, Amon The Dark Side of Devilman, which was from 1999 to 2004. So it wasn't finished yet when this was made. And having never read that, this was just really confusing for me. The way it started out, it did have some scenes that were more or less what happened in the manga sometime after the parts covered in The Demon Bird, so that's why at first I thought I could treat it as a sequel. Don't do that. I didn't enjoy this one as much, but since those 2 were going on the list, I didn't want to leave it out. Maybe it'll be better if I watch it after actually reading the manga. Also, no funny dub. One thing I remember liking though is Psycho Jenny's design. She looks a little different in like each adaptation that she's in. And I really like this one. This one might be my favorite look for her. She's really creepy in a good way. Number 8, Ridney. A supernatural comedy shonen made by Brainspace from 2015 to 2017. based on a manga by Rumiko Takahashi from 2009 to 2017. Sakura Mamiya has been able to see ghosts ever since she temporarily vanished as a child, but now she pretty much just finds them annoying. Rinne Rokudo is part human, part Shinigami, and he has a criminal father who leaves him constantly struggling to hold on to any amount of money. The two become friends and help each other with ghost-related situations. I love the characters so much in this series. There's a lot of them and they're all a lot of fun. They're absolutely chaotic, and I feel like people don't talk about Rinne as much compared to other Rumiko Takahashi works. And I've been wondering why. And even though I like the characters, I think Sakura can be a bit dull, so maybe that's the problem. I don't know, but I adore Ageha and Masato. Those two are tied as my favorites. They're so cute. Number 7, Ringing Bell. A dark fantasy coming-of-age movie made by Sanrio in 1978, based on a book written by Takahashi Yanase that same year. Have you ever watched Bambi or The Fox and the Hound and decided that you weren't nearly depressed enough? Well, have I got the movie for you. Chirin is a cute little baby lamb who has been told by his mother never to leave the pasture because there's wolves out there. I'm betting you're expecting the bad stuff is gonna happen because he left the pasture, and I mean he does kind of like wander off, but like no. That wolf comes to them. He busts into the barn in the middle of the night and kills Chirin's mother. So Chirin does the logical thing here and decides that he is going to become a wolf. And that's all I'm saying. That sounds a little goofy, but it's not. 6. Futariwa Pretty Cure. An original magical girl anime made by Toei Animation from 2004 to 2005. Or you could consider it to be ongoing since they kept making new series. Sporty Nagisa and intelligent Honoka are two girls with very different personalities, who both encounter strange little creatures, Mepple and Mipple, from the Garden of Light. They need to work together to transform into Cure Black and Cure White, or Pretty Cure, and protect the world from being consumed by darkness. I started this series a long time ago, but I restarted and actually finished watching the original 49 episodes this time. This show follows a Monster of the Week format, and the plot isn't really something you haven't seen before, but it was done well enough. It made me feel nostalgic since I loved watching magical girl shows as a kid, and I really like Nagisa and Honoka, and Mipple. Mepple, not so much. He's really annoying. Cure Black's outfit might be one of my favorite magical girl designs ever. Because while I do love the typical rainbow-themed outfits that magical girls usually have, they're really pretty. But it's just really refreshing to see a design like this. Number 5. Ojo Mao Dori. Another original magical girl anime of the witch variety made by Toei Animation from 1999 to 2003. This was a childhood anime for me. But back then it was the 4Kids version, so I'm really glad I rewatched in Japanese this time. It's a whole different experience, so I'm counting this as a new anime that I watched this year. The world's unluckiest pretty girl, Doremi, walks into a magic store one day to discover a real witch inside, but upon uttering the word witch, poor Majorika is transformed into a tiny witch frog. In order to change back, she makes Doremi into her witch apprentice. We're getting into the really good stuff with this one. If you like magical girls, you have to watch this. That's an order. It's very much for children, and for the most part that's obvious. There's always some sort of lesson to be learned, and the girls use their magic to try to solve other people's problems for them, but even though the show is overall cute and goofy, some of these problems they deal with are surprisingly serious, like children dealing with their parents divorcing, and even racism is addressed at one point. Also, they have to take exams not just to become stronger, but also so that they can have more magic spears, which they can't use magic without. Running out makes you just another human. So it can get a little intense when you see that they're running low and they haven't dealt with all the problems yet. I recommend this anime so much. Number 4, Romantic Killer. Here's the other reverse harem. Okay. A reverse harem comedy made by Domerica in 2022. So yeah, I just missed that last year. Based on manga by Wataru Momose from 2019 to 2020. Anzu Hoshino loves her life. She has a cat, she has chocolate, she has her video games. That's all she needs. I vibe with her so much. But everything changed when a stupid yellow ball called Riri pops up out of the freaking screen and magically confiscates all of her favorite things and her parents. Japan's birth rate is declining, so if she doesn't get with one of the attractive men this horrible creature is now surrounding her with, she'll never see any of those things again. But Anzu is determined to get her stuff back without giving in to Riri's demands. I've never seen anything quite like this before. I've never related so much to a reverse harem protagonist. Even when I like one, I still don't have anything really in common with them. Also, I don't really hate Riri. Not anymore, at least. I did at first. They got better. I might have to read the manga. I don't know if there will be more episodes or not at the time that I'm recording. But I'm a little worried that... I'm worried about what might happen next in the story. I can't explain why. But as far as what I've seen, it's fantastic. Number 3, Chainsaw Man. An action horror shonen made by MAPPA in 2022. Based on manga by Tatsuki Fujimoto starting in 2018. Denji was a boy living in misery due to debt left by his father. He got along by hunting devils with Pochita, the chainsaw devil in the form of a cute dog. But Denji winds up getting killed, so Pochita fuses with him and becomes his new heart, turning Denji into Chainsaw Man. He continues to hunt devils as part of the Public Safety Division, which is led by an extremely suspicious woman named Makima. It really reminds me of Devilman. So far, I wouldn't say it's like a shrimp clone or anything. But I'm very sure Devilman was a huge inspiration here. The protagonist that fuses with a devil, having a devil body with a human heart being swapped with a human body and a devil heart, though I'm not sure how much Denji's body is actually human, but still there's an emphasis on what kind of heart he has. An extremely suspicious individual that the protagonist trusts for reasons beyond my understanding, but I don't think they should. Great action, by the way. The story and the action have me hooked. Number 2, Princess Tutu. An original ballet-themed magical girl anime by HAL Filmmaker from 2002 to 2003. This is so hard to explain. An author named Drosselmeyer, which if that name is familiar to you, it's the name of the uncle in the Nutcracker. But yeah, Drosselmeyer was in the middle of writing a tragedy where a prince breaks his heart into pieces to defeat an evil raven, but he died before the story was finished. So reality and that story world merged together in a certain town so that the story can continue using both real and story characters. And a little duck transforms into a girl named Duck, or that's the translation of her name. Ahir, was that it? Who can then transform into Princess Tutu and protect the prince that she fell in love with through the power of dancing. I hope I made that make sense. The story is largely based on Swan Lake. There's some sprinkles of other stories in there, like the Nutcracker, the Ugly Duckling, Hansel and Gretel, but most of the important characters represent the Swan Lake characters. And the tragic ending is the direction Drosselmeyer is trying to take everyone towards. The story and characters are so interesting, and it gets weirder and creepier as it goes on, but it doesn't get weird to the point where I'm completely confused about what's happening. Though I'm sure it helps to be familiar with the stories it's based on. Gotta use some fairy tale logic. Number 1. JoJos parts 1 through 5. I haven't caught up to part 6 yet in the anime. A supernatural horror shonen made by David Productions starting in 2012, based on a manga by Hirohiko Araki starting in 1986. I will get around to part 6, I will. Don't worry. I've been reading the manga for a while and reviewed parts 1 and 2, so I knew exactly what I was getting into this time. I tried to watch JoJos a long time ago before, and I was just too confused, but well, I didn't start at the right thing. It all starts out in part 1, where Jonathan Joestar's evil adopted brother Dio puts on a mask that turns him into an extra evil vampire who both directly and indirectly screws with the lives of pretty much all of Jonathan's descendants throughout several generations in each part. It starts out as a vampire thing. It does not remain a vampire thing. I'm sure you've heard about JoJos before now. It's a very bizarre series. The anime does a great job following the manga. The gore is tamed down a little, but it's not overly censored, and I feel like certain sections show more than others. You're still gonna see a lot of freaky stuff. Definitely amongst my favorite anime, obviously since it got the top spot, but I did enjoy the manga a little bit more. Some of it just works better if you kind of have to imagine some of it yourself. I'll watch part 6 soon. I wasn't able to catch up. I already said that before. I want to reassure you. And that's my list. Tell me in the comments what older-ish anime you enjoyed watching this past year. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you haven't already. And I'll see you in the next video, which will be the next list. Bye-bye!